Hey everyone, it's Tiffany from Bubbles and Bloom Beauty Bar. We are here today for Beauty and Confidence Within, how to acknowledge your worth, step into your power, and radiate your own unique beauty from the inside out. Today we have Nicole Mashali. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing great.
So Nicole is a writer, actor, producer, and a manifestation mentor. I actually took one of her manifestation courses, which was dope. And she has a lot of magic that she helps us discover within ourselves. And she has a lot of magic that she actually has stories about. So I wanted to bring her on today to talk about some tips and tools on how we can recognize our own power within, because I know she thrives on that. So, Nicole, for those of us that don't know you already, can you please tell us who you are and what you do?
I do everything. I am a creator, so artistically, I've acted, I've wrote, produced, also directed, and also I do my manifestation course, which I've been doing for 4 years now. So I like to call myself a manifestation mentor.
Thank you. So, wondering how you portray confidence and inner beauty when you're working with your clients and community.
I think confidence, inner beauty go hand in hand. So, one of the things that I like to do mostly is show through example, right? It really doesn't, my course doesn't work without being vulnerable and showing people everything about me. That means not just the highlight reel that you might see on social media,
Mhm.
but everything like behind the scenes. And what made me who I am today. So I'm not scared of showing my vulnerable parts
Mhm.
and also areas of growth and learning lessons that I've had. And that includes mistakes and failures too. So I think that's part of growing your confidence is really owning your story and owning your power in your story.
I feel like that's super important too, because as a leader, you want to be real and honest and show people that we all are human and make mistakes, but we can overcome that. So, yes, thank you so much for being vulnerable sometimes. When clients are working with you, what would you like for them to take away from their interaction with you?
I really love allowing clients to see their own magic through me. I always tell my clients that rather because of me, it's through me, and I act as more of a mirror for folks to see reflected back to them their light, their magic, and remembering their own empowerments.
True, true. I second that. You always tell people to remember who they are. So, what is your definition of empowerment?
So, like I said, I really feel empowerment is connected to how you see yourself and your perception of yourself, right? And so, my definition of true empowerment is actually believing in yourself and remembering your own connection to spirit. And I know that's sort of a hot topic for some people, but my inner belief is that my connection to my faith is in connection to God and the universe. And in my own experience, when you have unwavering faith in your connection to God, then you are unbreakable and your empowerment goes a thousandfold.
Mm-hmm. True. Spirituality is very important. Um, so, can you tell us what the definition or your definition of empowerment is?
True empowerment is faith in yourself.
I'm sorry, did I ask you that already?
Yeah.
My bad, girl. My bad. Okay, sorry. Next question.
We're going to edit that part out.
Okay, okay. What can we do to suppress or eliminate our self judgment and stop our comparison to others? Because I feel like as women, we always compare ourselves to others. So yeah, can you give us a little insight?
So something that I've been doing for the past, I want to say 24 days is I deleted social media off of my
Oh,
phone.
you deleted it. Okay.
That means Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, right? Because I was spending way too much time. I would spend like 6 hours a day
Uh-huh,
sometimes
uh-huh.
on social media because of the apps that you can download to
Right, right.
show that. And it got to the point where I was just getting so judgmental, feeling just really lazy, and at 8 o'clock to 12 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really had to switch things up. And I think it's not an accident that teens and kids these days who have sort of grown up on social media are now experiencing the highest levels of anxiety, depression, suicide. You know, the mental health of children these days is really, really low. And so I think it ties hand in hand with smartphones and social media apps. And so I always tell, friends who are parents, like, really monitor their screen time and especially social media time. And so for myself, as a living testimony, I haven't been on social media except for on my laptop for work, marketing, and promoting things. But I haven't been on my phone for 24 days. And already I see a change in my mental health, in my spiritual health, and also my physical health. Like, every morning now I work out 30 to 40 minutes a day. And I've been doing that for the past 24 days. So I 100% see the benefits of deleting apps like that.
Yeah.
Also, a great documentary to watch to sort of back up this claim is The Social Dilemma on Netflix. And that was sort of eye-opening to me on how these apps work to keep you sucked in this black hole for hours, and comparing yourself to others and how unhealthy that is for your mental state. So I would say definitely deleting apps and reading more books, going outside and seeing nature, exercising definitely helps with self-confidence and boosting those endorphins in a more positive, natural way.
Do you foresee yourself downloading the apps again, or limiting yourself, or how would you go about doing that in the future?
So for me, I just know myself really well. And so it basically, for anything, whether that's like food or social media, I have to just like cut it out cold turkey and quit cold turkey. And then eventually I can slowly bring it back. But for me, it's like possibly having to download another app to just turn off those things after an hour or 2 hours. And unfortunately I need Instagram for my work,
for your business.
And business. And so it's really about monitoring the scrolling time.
Yes. I've done it before too, and I know a few people who have like given up social media for like Lent, and that's kind of like a big thing. And I did it 1 year, and it just felt so like you find other things to do, like read or like spend time with your family or clean, purge, and journal and things like that. So yes, it is good for the soul to limit screen time. So yeah, thank you. That's so with the times right now. So how do you push past fear and self-doubt and step into your power after like throwing all that away?
So I've been thinking about that a lot this year. And one of the main things that I like to teach is remembering, right? And this act of remembering for us and connecting to our spirit, because the world would love nothing but for us to forget how powerful we are, right? Whether that's society, mass media, even just like magazines. It's all about selling fear. It's all about selling the not enoughness of people in order for consumption, consumerism, and capitalistic goals. And so for me, the act of remembering can mean different things. It can mean meditation. It can mean writing. I'm currently writing a book. I found time to write my book.
Go ahead.
So I've so far written almost 10,000 words. My goal is 40,000.
So you're a quarter of the way through.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another thing I like to do is having a practice of gratitude. And every night I write down 5 things that I've accomplished in the day, and then also 10 things that I'm grateful for. And it can be as simple as breathing, right? With COVID, I think it's really essential right now that we appreciate even just taking a breath.
Very true. Um, so how do you think the challenges that we go through can contribute to boosting our confidence?
I believe everything is perception, right? And so the one thing that we can control as human beings on this planet is our own perception and our own thoughts. And so anytime I experience a challenge or hardship, I like to see it as a way for me to learn a lesson, right? And so I think a lot of people who are addicted to victim mode and scarcity would rather see themselves as a victim and put blame or shame on themselves or other people. And I don't think that's very empowering. I think it's the opposite. So what I like to do in order to empower myself is to see challenges as a way to learn and as a way to sort of like go up a spiritual spiral growth, right? And so like one of the biggest challenges that I ever faced was the death of my father in 2011. And I could have chosen his death as a way to go down the spiral, be depressed for a really long time. And not to say I didn't grieve, you know, I spent a whole year almost grieving his death. But I also allowed his death to sort of push me out of my comfort zone and take more risk. And after his death, I decided to move to New York, even though I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have family out there. I didn't even have an apartment, and just go for it. Go for my dreams. Go for acting and writing and being creative in New York City, one of the biggest cities in the world and most expensive. And so I did that 8 years ago, and I accomplished so much of my dreams. I met my husband in New York. You know, I was able to travel the world because of the jobs that I booked in New York. And I started my course there 4 years ago. So it really was the catalyst to sort of push me past what I thought I could achieve and what I thought was possible, and really get me into my power and really step into my power. And so I use that as sort of like a tool of remembering that any kind of challenge, even if it seems devastating, like a death of a family member or a death of a parent, you can achieve so much more than what you think is right in front of you, what you think that obstacle is, and really allow that obstacle to just be a learning lesson for you. And one of the biggest learning lessons was like FOMO and YOLO, right? Like you only live once. My dad died at the age of 53.
Wow.
Right. I'm 40. That's only like in 13 years
I
from
know,
now.
serious.
And if you think about it too, it's like with COVID going around, you really don't know how much longer you have on this planet. And so that sort of drove me in thinking, all right, if I die tomorrow, because my dad didn't know he was going to die, it was very sudden. If I die tomorrow, is the life that I led something that I'm proud of? Did I leave a legacy? Did I leave an impact? And so that is now like my driving force in everything that I do, including this book that I'm writing, including the manifestation course that I teach, including the creative projects that I'm part of. Like, is this something I'm proud of? If I die tomorrow, could answer?
Nicole. Oh, did you?
Yes.
Sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit. Did you get?
Oh,
Did
sorry.
you realize that you cut out or no?
Yes. After the fact. So where did I leave off on my
You were
on my
talking about well, YOLO, and I don't remember where exactly you. Oh, well, we're all not promised tomorrow, pretty much. Your dad didn't know he
and
was.
and so his death was sort of just a reminder to me that to be proud of your life and do things that you're proud of. And so anything I do, whether it's writing this book or teaching my course or acting in a project, I see it as, is this going to inspire other people?
Okay, so I'm more interested in what you were talking about, like the act of remembering. I'm like hearing this, elsewhere as well. So if you can help me like understand, like for those that might not have heard this term before in the way that you're speaking about it, can you like go into it a little bit more and how like remembering can like help us step into our power and like what should we channel and what should we try to remember about ourselves or our ancestry or how we go about our lives.
So I think this is especially important for people of color and those from colonized nations and countries. That something that my really good friend JL Umipig, she's JL Creator on Instagram, has told me is the act of remembering, and this is how she spells it, is re-membering, right? So the act of remembering is sort of the act of reconnecting to your spiritual roots, reconnecting to your ancestors, reconnecting to that power within you before colonization, before sort of this brainwashing and conditioning of the colonizers. And I would also say white supremacy, because essentially that's what colonization did for Filipino culture, was to put the Spanish and the Europeans above us as indigenous people. And so for me, remembering is the act of going back to our ancestry in the way that we connected to spirit before colonization, right? And it's going back to connecting with our intuition. It's going back to connecting with God in a very pure way, in a way that we can co-create with the universe and co-create with God, knowing that that power is already within us. You know, I think one of the biggest lessons that I teach is learning to trust yourself. Because when you trust yourself, rather than trusting all this conditioning that colonizers have given us as truth, when you can trust yourself, you know when something is going to be bad or good for you, because intuitively you are just connected like that, right? And that's something that I've been building for the past 25 years, I would say maybe 30 years, right? And that's a power that I've had building for that long. So when my clients ask, well, how do you know that? Or how did you get that? It's like I manifested it, but it was also, I learned to see the signs. I learned to hear that intuitive voice, that higher self, that Holy Spirit, as Christians would say. And I learned not to question myself, just to go with my gut and make choices because of that. And I think colonizers, and especially society today, would have you constantly questioning yourself and constantly questioning your truth and constantly questioning your own power, because they rely on taking your power away in order for their power to exist. And I think that's something that's not taught in school. I think that's something that's not taught by our parents or by certain religious practices, because they relied on us for their own power. But if you take away the latter, then what is there? Right? It's just spirit. It's us as humans, but we also have souls. And I think we often don't get taught that we are spirits in human form, each of us having our own existence and perception of life. And so for me, it's about remembering that and changing perceptions versus what I was taught when I was like, say, 1 to 10.
Right. So it's a lot of inner work that we have to do and collaborating with our own communities to like learn more and educate ourselves and be there for support for each other. So yeah, so I really admire that. And I feel like it's something that, us as in colonized people should definitely be doing so that we can trust our own selves. So yeah, pretty dope. Thank you.
Yeah, and also, like you said, the Filipino people before the colonizers came, we were all about the tribe and all about community and all about helping each other out. And I think, especially here in America, we're taught individualism. But look at the state of this country right now. Like, people would rather not wear a mask than, help our country and help others in our community that might have COVID,
Right?
right? And rather than helping other people, they just don't want to do anything. They just
I
want to
know.
have their freedom just to not do it. And it's like, but why?
Right. I know.
So yeah, I think it's a lot about unlearning all these like fear
Very true.
mongering and negative beliefs
Hmm.
and remembering that we're all connected.
Hmm. Yes, that's super important. We are all connected. So are there any like books or podcasts or songs or routines that you might do for confidence boosting?
So I like to meditate daily. There's tons of guided meditations on YouTube. There's also a great meditation app by Deepak Chopra.
Mhm.
And some of the books that I've been reading, I have them here, is A Return to Love by
Okay.
Marianne Williamson. And then also what I'm reading right now is Conversations with God.
Mm.
He has 3 books in the
I know I was about to
series.
say, is that like a whole series? Because I've heard about that one
Yep.
before. Hmm.
One
So
through
you're on the
three.
second?
This is a book 2. I've read book 1 a long time ago in my early 20s, and now I'm reading this book, and I'm glad I'm reading it now because I think in my 20s and even my 30s I wouldn't have absorbed
Right.
and really understood all of the concepts in this one, but this is a great one. And then another one that I'm listening to on YouTube is an audio version of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which was written in 1937,
Mhm.
right after the Great Depression, right after World War II, and even the 1918 Spanish flu, the pandemic that
Yeah,
like killed
right.
50 million people.
Right.
So I think that one is especially important right now to listen to. And it's a 9-hour audiobook. So every day I try to listen like 20 minutes a day while
Oh,
I'm working
okay.
out,
Mhm.
while I'm whatever cooking.
Mhm.
And so I try to, instead of just doing social media in the past 24 days, I try to instead nourish my mind and nourish my soul with positive content that's going to
Yes.
slowly rewire my
Mhm.
subliminal
Yes.
consciousness
Yes.
in a way that is going towards growth, going towards growing and evolving and stepping into my power.
Mhm.
And so even though I've read some of these books countless times, I think it's always good to remember and refresh yourself with these concepts.
Yes. Cool. May I please ask what your book is about?
It's all about basically my course, right? So
Okay.
the reason why I'm writing this book is I like to keep my course small, right? I only take in 20 clients at a time.
Mhm.
But like, a lot of my clients have told me this is so life-changing. I wish I'd take this course sooner, and so I realized that as a human, I can do so much with just 20 clients. But if I
Mhm.
wrote a book and put
Mhm.
all the knowledge and wisdom that I've learned in the past 30, 40 years into this book, including my own life stories, that deal with manifestation and empowerment, then I can reach so many more people than just 20 people per session, which
Right.
is like every 2 months. Right. So if I do this book, then I can help people all over the world, essentially. And I think it's really important too, because yes, there's other books on law of attraction. Yes, there's other books from manifestation coaches. But I think what's different about me is I'm a woman of color that grew up in America with immigrant grandparents. And so most of the books and resources out there are by affluent, white, cis people,
Mhm.
right? And so I think I come in with a different voice
Yes.
and a different perception of what's possible.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of Caucasian folks will just say, oh, forget all your struggles
Mhm.
and sort of invalidate people in
Mhm.
their experience as people of color. Whereas I'm like, no, embrace that because you've learned a lot from that experience, or you're growing up in certain areas or environments, but also know that there's way more that's possible than what you've been told. And so I think that's an important lesson for people of color to know that there's more out there for them.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. So then you can record your audiobook and women can, or people can listen to you while they're cooking or driving or taking care of their kids. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's cool. Congratulations. I'm happy for you.
Thank
Um,
you.
so can you give advice to us as women on how we can start to feel beautiful and confident within our own selves first?
Take my course. My next course is starting November 14th. But in the meantime, I think monitor your social media intake. Monitor not only that, like, but what you are bringing into, what kind of energy, what kind of information you're taking on. Because all of that, whether you like to realize it or not, is changing your subconscious. Everything is energy. So if you're just like food, if you're intaking just a bunch of junk food, McDonald's every day, then don't be surprised when you're obese.
Right.
It's the same with mental information or news or social media. If you're just intaking information that's like cheap, you know, entertainment, then don't be surprised when you don't feel empowered, when instead you feel depressed, you feel anxiety. I would say a lot of my younger clients, I would say 20 to 26, all have depression, some form of depression, all have some form of anxiety. Whereas when I was growing up in my 20s, I would say only like a quarter of the people I knew
Right.
dealt with that. Where now a lot of my clients are dealing with anxiety and depression. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after my course, they feel 85 to 100 times better, because they're doing that work. And instead of taking the time to scroll on social media, they're writing things out, they're journaling, they're meditating, they're connecting with source, with spirit, they're going out in nature every week. And so my course, as well as my book, is sort of allowing people the tools to not only grow and strengthen their manifestation muscles, but also tools to help them reconnect with themselves and to trust themselves. And that in turn is going to make them feel way more confident and then way more beautiful, because beauty, yes, is physical, but it's also emotional, mental, and spiritual. And I don't think a lot of people understand that,
Yeah,
especially in their early 20s.
yes, yes. That's exactly why I wanted to put this summit together too. So, so go into your course more because for those people that are interested in working with you further and want to have access to you, explain what it is and how we can work with you.
So my course is an 8-week online course. And so I have people from all over the world taking this, from France, Manila, Philippines, New York, Boston, all over California. And so it starts November 14th. I always like to start on the new moon. My course
Yes,
is
yes.
always around the
I
moon
know. I was
cycles.
like, okay, she has a strategy to this, and I know why, but I'm not going to say why. But there is a strategy. Uh huh.
And it's all intentional, right? Every week, I go through a different lesson of manifestation. Every week, I give you an assignment of writing, meditating, and taking yourself out on what I like to call a self-love date.
Yes.
So you can get to know yourself more, so you can start to strengthen that inner gut, that inner intuition, your connection with higher self. And so after the 8 weeks, I allow you to finally go into an action plan, right, and vision board. But all through that time, I'm supporting you with weekly Zoom calls. We do group Zoom calls with people that are also taking this course. And so you have this community, right? I like to call it a good vibe tribe. And you have support from other beings who are on this journey together. And what I like about this is because a lot of people will say, well, I want to share this with my partner. I want to share this with my best friend. But I like to remind people that not everyone is ready, right? Not everyone is going to be on the same spiritual path as you. And you sort of have to respect that, but also understand you have to protect your own magic. And so that's why I like to include this community within this course. And that's why I only accept 20 people at a time, because if I did 500 or 1,000, like most law of attraction and life coaches do, it sort of just waters everything down in my experience.
Right.
And you don't feel like you're being heard by myself or the leader of these online courses, right? And so what I like to do is keep it small, keep it intimate. And also I like to be there and be available to my clients, because I've seen it where others just send out an email PDFs and then you're sort of left to your own devices. And I will say 75% of people that get PDFs will never finish them.
Right, exactly.
Right? You don't commit to that.
Yeah.
You could have 1,000 PDFs in your laptop, but are you actually going to do the work every day? No, you're going to be on social media every morning.
There's no accountability.
There's no accountability. And so that's why I like to keep it down to 20. I like to be available to my clients so they can be accountable to not only themselves, but to me, right? I don't gain anything if you do this work or not. Right. This work is for you. This work is for you to build your own self-confidence, your own beauty, and your own empowerment, right? The only thing I gain is another highly empowered being out in the universe, you know, manifesting their dreams and making ripples out into the world to make it a better place. That's what I gain, you know, but I don't gain anything financially if you finish this course or not, right, exactly. You know, and I think that's the other issue I have with other life coaches. And I'm not even a life coach. I wouldn't even call myself a life coach. Is that they've taken things like B school and then they're like, I'm just going to pay, or I'm going to make people pay $2,000 for a 4-page PDF, you know? And then it's like, it's just, again, going into this capitalistic model of self-help and wellness, right? So what's your real intention? It's just to make money off of other people, which I took B school and I understood that model, but it didn't sit right with me. Yes, sure, I could do that, but it's not going to sit right with my own soul. And so I understand I'm not doing this course to gain millions of dollars, which I probably could. Like you said yourself, you could be charging way more for this course. Right. But that's not my intention. My intention is to help people, to help this world. And I know through experience, you can only help this world by helping yourself and loving yourself and then inspiring others. And so, like I said, the ripple effect. Right. Okay, cool. I'm so happy for you that you have another course coming up, because I know that I didn't know when your next one would be. So yes, everyone out there, if you're interested, take advantage. Nicole, like really, she cares about you and your progress and your growth. And like she said, it's up to you. You know what I mean? She's just there to help you remember and see your own magic and potential. So Nicole, I know we talked about a lot today, but if you could name one thing that we could start doing today, right now, to start feeling more confident or beautiful within, what do you think that one thing could be? Meditate. Cool. Yes, true. Okay, cool. Thank you, Nicole, for being with us today. We appreciate all your wisdom. You talked about a lot, and I feel like our community of color would appreciate you too. So I know I do. Thank you so much. And for everyone else, we will see you again on Beauty and Confidence Within. We hope today that you learned how to acknowledge your worth and feel beautiful from the inside out in order to step into the most confident version of yourself. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Tiffany. See you again.